real talk, no filter, no front. Candy and Garrett, yeah, we say what you want. Real life, real stories, yeah, we keep it real. If you're looking for the truth, this is how it feel. Conversations that matter, yeah, we bringing it out. From the highs to the lows, yeah, we talking it out. No fluff, no cap, yeah, we keeping it straight. If it's real, then it's worth every second you gave.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Candy Thompson
and Garrett Gray.
So, guys, we're very excited to introduce to you our guest today. So, we are here with Gwen Christeson. Welcome, Gwen.
Thank you.
And Gwen does kind of everything. So, Gwen, you are an estate attorney.
Yes.
You also are an author.
Yes.
She's a mom. She's an identical twin, you guys. So, all of these super fun things. And so, we are very excited to introduce Gwen's book, Legacy Love Letters. And so we kind of want to journey just a little bit with you on kind of who you are and how you got to this point. And then we really want to dive into the book. Guys, you're not going to want to miss this episode. This book is something that every single person needs in their home. So Legacy Love Letters is something that will carry you for generations and years and years and years. So don't tune out just yet. So Gwen, tell us a little bit about you. Were you originally from this area?
I wasn't. So I actually grew up in the Bay Area and went to college and law school in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And then just before I had my son Connor, who you know well,
yes,
we moved here to the foothills here in Jackson. And so when we first relocated, we were down in the Sacramento area. We had family off the 50, and we thought we were going to look for a house there. But my husband drove 49 all the way to Sonora one day, and he decided, there's this little town in Jackson, and I think we're really going to like it.
I love that.
So we've been in the same house in Pioneer for 23 years.
Wow.
He brought me here because I love to ski and ice skate.
Yes,
so he convinced me we're really close to Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. You guys are a huge ski family
closest.
too.
I would say really close. It's still a good distance.
Closer.
Closer than the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah.
So I've been here now for 23 years.
Wow.
But when I was working in San Diego, I was doing corporate law.
Oh, wow.
And when I moved to Sacramento, my payroll got cut in 1/3.
Wow.
And I was doing just a little bit of corporate law, but not really the same as San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made it really easy to hang my shingle.
Yeah.
But when I opened my office here in Jackson, the need was for estate planning,
right?
Probate law, which is when someone dies, what you have to do to go through the court process.
100% easy.
And then divorces.
Right,
and so I did start renting space. You'll appreciate this as a property manager. My rent was $100 a month.
You're kidding me.
For my first office.
Oh
$100
my
a
gosh.
month. But I couldn't be on the phone if the air was on. We had to share a bathroom. I mean, it wasn't the best location.
It was $100 a month.
But it was a good starting office.
I love that.
I got to bring the baby to work with me. Even I have clients still that will come in and ask me how the
crazy.
baby is.
Oh, right, and he's 23.
He's 23. Yeah.
Still a baby.
Still a baby.
Yeah.
So, and he's the one that's going to hopefully join me in my law practice one day. So
that'd be
I love
that's
that.
been really good because I was pregnant with him when
Isn't
I
that
hung my
fun?
shingle and started working here. So it was a big move from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found that estate planning was what I was good at and where there was a huge need.
Right.
We are a retirement community. There's a lot of people who relocate here for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it ended up being a good fit. I do have a BA in psychology.
Oh, that's
and
great.
so that psychology also helps me, especially with families, mediate hard decisions and kind of work through things.
Yes.
So it's been a good fit for me.
And she's amazing at it. You're the best at it. I mean, anybody that talks about anything to do with estate planning is always saying Gwen Christeson. You got to go to Gwen.
Well, and that's that specialty part, and you'll appreciate this. When I took the bar exam, you have to know a little bit of everything. But then at some point, I took the certification exam. And so there is actually a bar exam just on estate planning.
Really?
And so I took that. You have a number of requirements. You have to be in the field for over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have so many cases and so many estate plans. You have to have colleagues sign off on you.
Wow.
And so I went through that just actually 2019, because just as the shutdown was happening, I got this big certificate that I was now certified. And I was thinking, okay, what is this going to look like with everything being shut down?
Yeah.
But with estate planning, we were essential workers. And so I kept the office going.
Right.
It just looked a little different.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so then you started journeying into the book. What kind of prompted you to even think about writing the legacy love letters?
Well, moving to Main Street. So when I that first office was about $100 a month, and then I moved to a larger office where the recorder's office is now. And then my husband came home from Rotary one night, and he said there's a place on Main Street available.
Wow.
And I said, I don't want to change my letterhead. What are you
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And he convinced me. It was old building in foreclosure, and we put an offer on it. It took a long time because it was in
Right. Right.
foreclosure, and so it took us almost 6 months to get it done. But then we started rebuilding it, and we've been on Main Street ever since. That was about 2012.
I love that. And your
And
place is so awesome. And so, for those of you who are not familiar with our small town of Jackson, Northern California is really popular for like its little main streets. And so, she's on Main Street. And it's funny because Main Street in Jackson, you have underground tunnels. I mean, that's
Yeah.
used to how they get around. And so, you have a basement that you converted, which is really awesome too.
yes, the building, it's a three-story building, and when we bought it, there was a store on the that was there on the lower level, but I wanted the lower level for the office.
Right.
Hmm.
And so we converted the upstairs as apartments, and then
Oh,
the downstairs is a speakeasy bar
yeah.
library. But there is an underground tunnel, but right now it's boarded
Closed
up.
up.
Sealed
Yeah.
up.
It's
Yeah.
closed up and
Yeah.
sealed up. But there's just so much history.
Hmm.
Our building is a 1930s building.
Wow.
And so when we were doing a lot of the construction, we found evidence of what people told us. They told us there was a dentist in there at one point.
That's funny.
They told us there was even ledger dispatch was in there at one point. So there was a
Wow.
dark room.
Wow.
So as you do the demolition and the rebuilding, you
Yeah.
find things like that. But it has been great to be on Main Street because people will see my
Right.
sign and come
Right.
in.
Yeah.
They're coming to Jackson for the kitchen store or the candy store or the shoe store, and so
Yeah.
then they come in and pick up a flyer on estate planning. Even this weekend, I'll be open for the car show.
I love
Oh,
that.
awesome.
So
That's
we'll
so
be open
smart.
for 3rd of July.
Okay.
Oh,
Main
I
Street.
love that. We're doing a parade.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Main
It's our
Street is
first one.
yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be really great.
Hmm.
Sidewalk
Yes.
sale, all of the Main Street vendors are excited to be there.
I
So
love
it's
that.
been a good place to be. And now my commute to the courthouse is only 5 minutes.
Right. It's a very long walk up though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I do drive.
Oh,
I do drive.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you. Well, and it used to be, remember, it used to be right. I mean, were you there when the courthouse was right up from you?
Yeah.
And then it moved over. So now she's got the
Mhm.
right to where it's off of, well, not that anybody cares what the courthouse is, but
Yeah, it's really
a little bit
close
further away.
compared
Yeah.
to when I have cases. Even last summer, I had one in Roseville,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was leaving my house at dark 30 to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
an 8 a.m. Court appearance.
Right.
So I appreciate a quick 5 minute
Oh yeah, for
drive.
sure.
So nice. Yeah, that's one of the nice things about being in a small town too. I know in the morning my alarm, I'll say to Siri, "Hey, what's the weather?" And it will say whatever the weather is, and Kendi, your commute looks clear. It's 4 minutes to work.
Not bad. Not
Like,
You're like,
bad.
yeah,
thanks.
it's just around the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, I'm like, thank you. So anyway, okay, so then you started thinking about writing a book when? Around what time?
Well, and that's what I wanted to share with you. So here at the back, it's in the appendix. I actually have an obituary here, and it's on page 179.
Okay.
This is really what started it.
Hmm.
I had a client who wrote a love letter to his wife, and in the
Oh.
obituary, it mentioned this love letter.
Really?
And his daughter let me share the love letter in the book, and it's typed because he didn't like his own handwriting.
Oh, that's funny.
But he wrote this beautiful love letter to his wife. And when I did research for the book, I found out that he wrote it because of me. Because
Really?
he had come to me for estate planning. When I first moved to Main Street, I was doing free workshops. I still do the workshops. I just do them at places like Rotary or other
Yeah.
places. I don't
Yeah.
have people come into the building for it. But he came to the workshop, and writing a letter to your loved one was number 7. because when you're
Really?
writing a top 10 list, you got to write all 10.
Yeah.
And I got to 7, and I just remember writing, and it's in there, write a letter to your loved one. But no instructions, no samples,
Oh
just
my
it was a good
gosh.
idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And we do that all the time in estate planning. We do it for business succession planning, where we're giving instructions. We do it for pets. We do it even for children. There's a lot of reasons why in estate planning, it's their instruction letters or
Right.
their additional information that we
Yeah.
need in addition to the document. So I was coaching this already, but just that simple, write a letter to your loved one.
Wow.
And so I found out that he had come to the workshop and he had written the letter, and then he put it in with his estate planning.
Oh my
So when the family
gosh.
were looking for the will, they found this letter, and you'll see it in the book.
You're kidding.
It's not a it's just a couple sentences, but it just had such an impact on her and in her grief. She was always reading the letter, or she was reading the letter to someone, and that just sparked that little interest of, okay, this is something more.
Right.
And so, and that you'll see with the obituary, that was back in 08. I just knew it was a big deal. And so through my estate planning, we've always been helping with resources. And this was from already the clients who they want to do extra. They would come in, and they needed the top 10 list. They wanted to know all the other things to be doing. And I talk about that in my book too.
Yeah.
Because there's extra things that we can do, like pre-planning a funeral, or making arrangements. All of those kind of things are also part of it.
Right.
But where the book happened was I just started really thinking more about the love letters. This became a faith-based book on legacy.
I love that.
Because my very first presentation was at a women's retreat.
Oh, wow.
And it was for most of the women were there from Nevada. And I'm a California licensed attorney.
Yeah.
I can't talk about
Right.
Nevada
Right.
law.
Right.
And so it just gave me permission to talk about legacy just on that, statewide.
Yes.
Because love letters comes from just wanting to say goodbye.
That's
wanting
right.
That final farewell.
Right.
Even my clients that don't believe in God and don't believe in heaven, they'll write letters to their loved ones because they want to say goodbye.
Right.
And
right.
they want their loved ones to know they love them.
Right.
Regardless of where they're going, they know they're going.
Yes.
Right?
And so what was interesting, and you'll see this in the book, is that as clients shared letters with me, I was seeing the faith in their letters where it was goodbye. This is a temporary farewell, or will be reunited someday.
Yeah.
And so that's where the faith was really coming through. And the very first version of this was very legal. And luckily,
that's funny.
I had a business coach I was working with at the time that said, Gwen, I don't want to read a letter by a book by an attorney.
Right.
I don't want to read it.
Oh.
And I was doing that already. You see
Right.
in my ledger dispatch.
Yeah.
I print articles all the time to remind people what a will and trust is.
Right.
Or how to write letters, or just how to do a review. I try with those legal resources to give them that information.
Right.
But with that challenge from a coach, it was, okay, what could this look
Right.
like?
Right. Now you got to tell a story, not write it legally.
I
Yeah.
need to do a little bit more. And then with love letters, I also signed up with a Christian publisher. So you'll see it on the back. HB stands for Hope Books.
Oh, I love
And
that.
So there's a publishing house out of Matthews, North Carolina, called Hope Books. And it's run by Brian Dixon, and he is a Christian, and he helps people share hard stories that become book
Wow.
stories. And
This was a
so
perfect fit.
it was a
Yeah.
good fit.
Wow.
So once I signed up with them to go through the coaching and the manuscript and everything that comes with writing a book, it just made the book even more just God's heart for legacy.
Right.
Nice.
And so you'll see as you go through
How'd you
it.
end up finding them, the publishers?
It was through a referral.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
just
Awesome.
people I had met and said, we think this will be a good fit for you. When I signed up with them, they had 12 books out, and now they have over 100.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so his goal is really to help first-time authors, which was a good fit for me because I didn't have time. I'm running a business still.
Right.
I still run a household. I'm married. I have 3 children.
Yeah.
My son is in law school,
Yeah.
and my two daughters are in college. So I'm still doing all the things.
Right.
And so I really needed to have someone else tell me,
Right.
this is due on Monday.
Right.
A
Right.
little more
This-
guidance here.
This
Yeah.
is what you should be doing next.
Right.
And then through that, I've just met so many authors that just just have encouraging stories. And so it just was a good fit to help me. I did take a little bit longer. The process is usually 1 year, and I just took 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I needed to still be a mom and a wife
Right,
and
right.
a lawyer.
Right.
Yeah.
So there were a few
Yeah.
times I had to just set the manuscript down,
Mhm.
Right.
and which is a good break.
It is
Yeah,
a
of
good break.
course,
Well,
of
and it
course.
kind of creates your inspiration. I mean, I feel like if you're pushing yourself, it's because of a deadline, not because of inspiration. So I love that
Mhm.
you took the time that you needed to actually make it what it needs to be.
And there are some twin stories. I talk about identity, so I know what you'll appreciate my twin stories in there. But I also weave some client stories in here. There's some case examples, and then I had at the end I do have the sample love letters. But one thing, and this came from working with the other Christian authors, is on each chapter here has a worship prompt. And so there's a
Oh.
playlist that goes with it. There's also a scripture
Wow.
prompt and a writing prompt, because what happens
Oh, I
with love
love that.
letters is there's some journaling that goes with it.
Mhm.
Some people can sit down and write a letter.
Mhm.
Right.
I had
right.
one woman, while she was in my presentation, ordered stationery on Amazon, and she had her letters already written.
Wow.
But most people,
Right.
they
Right.
need to think about
What
it.
am I going to put on this paper? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even put my thoughts onto words.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
So the journaling prompts really help.
Yeah.
Right.
In the sympathy chapter, I tell the story about when I lost my dad. I used letters to I followed the prompts,
Mhm.
and I wrote out those memories of him. And so now he didn't leave a love letter. He knew I was writing a book, but he died before it was finished. And so I was able to write those letters and just remember him.
Yeah.
So it's great now to see what these letters have,
Right.
the impact. And so right now the focus of the book is really that end of life, or someone wanting to say goodbye, I love you. And you see it on the cover. It started with these first four. So the first four were love, faith, hope, and gratitude.
Yeah.
And then as I wrote the book, I added encouragement, sympathy, and forgiveness.
Oh, that's good.
And so those didn't make the cover, but there
Right.
are,
Right.
and it's
Throughout
not
the
that you
book.
have to have 7 letters or 7 ingredients, but I just found that as I talk with people, if and it's to each person. Your letter to your spouse might be different than a letter to a child,
Right.
Yeah.
or
I
even
get it.
grandkids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have one grandma
absolutely.
letter in here, and I love it. She wrote one for all of her grandkids.
I love that. That's so sweet. Well, and what a neat thing. But you're right. When you think about legacy love letters, and what an awesome gift to give your family, like to have that to continue to read, and just not that you don't have memories of them, but just like that intentional letter of them saying goodbye. But then you think about, like, we don't always know when. Actually, we generally never know when the end is for us, right? So preemptively writing these letters, I mean, I lost a brother a couple years ago who was 58 years old. Like, no one plans on going at 58, right? So having something like that, I mean, it would be kind of fun to like have different letters as they, start with one, and then later, a couple years later, write another one, and then you can kind of journey these letters with them after they pass. That would be, well, I guess you wouldn't journey them with them,
No.
but through them, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and
I'm
you
in a
can-
way with them.
right?
kind of.
Well, and that's what's fun about the book is I even have it in my front window. I have it in the office, and so clients are coming because they've heard about the book,
Yeah.
or they're clients already and they want to pick up the book. And so after the book, I might have to have volume 2, because now people are
Right.
sharing even more stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites so far was a woman who had love letters from her husband every day. He wrote it on the napkin
Oh.
by her coffee. And so when she moved, because lost her husband and had to relocate, which happens a lot, the kids hid the napkins all around the house.
Oh,
and so
you're
she said it was
kidding.
like an Easter egg hunt,
Oh, I
finding
love
those letters,
that.
Wow.
those love letters.
That's so sweet.
That was one of my favorites. Even in my own house, we wrote letters to Kate, my middle daughter, when
Yeah.
she left for college. And I was just helping her unpack and repack because she's heading back to relocate. And she took that the letter books, the book of letters with her. It
Yeah.
was letters to a grad, and each of the family members, put a letter
I
in. So it
love that.
wasn't a goodbye, I love you letter, but
Right.
it was an opportunity to write, encouraging words to her.
Right.
Because we all need that encouragement or that love from
Yes.
home. Another client, he told me he writes birthday letters,
Oh my
and
gosh, I
so
love
right.
that.
So that's where
It
here the
does kind of
letters have.
spark so many different ideas. It's such a neat, and so do you feel like that the prompts in here would help with any of those, with like a letter of, the going to college, going away for college, or the birthday letters or anything? Do you think the prompts are beneficial to any letter you're writing like that?
I think so. Even with estate planning is stewardship. And so there's a whole section here on stewardship and just it's that getting your affairs in order. And
Right.
you see that with people all the time. You see, especially with houses, people aren't ready
Right.
to relocate, or the kids aren't ready to go through all of the things. And so just having that in place, it's just a good reminder of just all the things that you can be doing.
Right. No, it's just such a great idea. And what what I was thinking when I was thinking of the legacy love letters is like, even having, I mean, my mom, whom I love dearly and who's very healthy, thankfully, at 84, that's when you start to think about stuff. But I have to be honest, like I've never really lost anyone prior to losing my brother. So things don't become very real until you actually have lost someone. Like I had never experienced grief before. I had never, to that extent, right? Like my brother was very close to me, and he was kind of like a dad to me. I was raised without a dad. He's 11 years older than me. So he was kind of the only constant male in my life, my whole life, right? And so losing him so suddenly, he died of a heart attack, a massive heart attack, on a morning where he was getting up to go to work. So it was just such a crazy situation. And I think that like what you do for a living is so powerful. And I don't think, I understood it, but I didn't understand it to that extent, because you're in a cloud. Like you're having to make all of these decisions and all of this stuff without even thinking clearly. And so having, just the estate planning in general is tremendous. But then also being able to have something like a love letter or something, I just feel like that would help you mourn better. I just feel like it would have made the process, like just that comfort would have made, not that it would have changed anything, but it just would have been a little bit of a piece of him and in
Closure.
his voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do feel like you guys, the legacy love letters is for all ages at all times. So please don't think that this is end of life like that. I would love to have something like that for him. I mean, my mom lost her only son, right? So there's 5 of us kids, 4 girls, 1 boy. We always joked around that I was the favorite because I'm the baby. And he used to say, girls are a dime a dozen in this family. Candy, I'm the favorite. And so I think there's a chance now that he may have been the favorite, but now I am, right, Kim?
Yeah.
My sister Kim's behind the camera. But for my mom, even for like to lose a child, nobody ever plans on doing that. So, I think there's so many aspects of the book that just kind of make your brain just think outside of the box a little bit. And so I love that.
Well, and that's where their prompts come in. Even forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is an expression of love, and I see it a lot with as I counsel families. You see, there's families that are estranged or they have difficult relationships, and so there's just when you're looking at how do you express that forgiveness to someone. Just even with sympathy, we see this when someone is losing a loved one, that we really want to be there next to them and encouraging them. That sympathy is kindness, and it just helps us encourage people around us. Losing a sibling, and there's a quote in the book that I found. It's someone you've been with your whole life, so it is losing that identity. But there's ways to keep those memories alive. Especially the letters, people say have supernatural powers, where as you read that letter, you can feel their love, you can hear their voice, you can see their face. And so I have people that share, they've held onto a birthday card or a
Right.
Mother's Day card or a Father's Day
Yeah.
card. So even something that wasn't meant for a legacy love letter, they'll hold on to because
Right.
they want that that tangible item
Yeah,
to hold
yeah.
on to.
Yeah, that their voice. I think that's what it is, their handwriting or their voice are just a part of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's so awesome. Well, one thing that I was thinking about too after losing my brother was I've said many times, and I even thought about writing like a social media post about it. Like, there needs to be some instructions on what to do when someone has lost to someone, because you just don't know. It's one of those things that everybody wants to help. You want to do something, you want to make them feel better, but you're kind of helpless, right? And so people do things thinking that they're being kind and thinking that like this is what you do. But in hindsight, it's like it's kind of sometimes the worst thing that they can do or say,
Yeah.
and I know for my mom, my mom's a strong person. And so obviously she's not going to head outside and be a bawling, wreck everywhere she goes. So she puts herself together and she heads out. But that, like, you're so strong. It would tug at her heart every time, like she wasn't being emotional enough or she wasn't sad enough. Like you say these things thinking that they're like encouraging words, but it's just such an interesting thing. And I thought, I too bad there isn't like a guide on how to, how to be when someone has lost someone, because it's such an unknown that everybody tries to do their best at. But it's, or even telling, it was just really crazy, all the different stuff that would happen. And you're like, every time you talk to someone, it's like you have to go through it all over again. And so I found like the nicest thing for us was just people would send a card. And I thought that was such a kind gesture. I'd never thought of that before. As crazy as that is, like there's sympathy cards all the time, but like, just like, hey, just, a really nice card. And so that was something I thought, Gwen will write the book.
Right, right. Well, and there is a whole chapter here on grief, because what I found with these letters is the letters really do help our loved ones grieve better.
Yes.
And so I did
Yes.
go through quite a few books on grief. Even last weekend, I was in North Carolina because one of the authors I had cited in the book was hosting a summit on grief,
Oh,
and just to have those resources for people who are grieving,
right.
it was really helpful. And a lot of it comes from just making sure that people know that we're here to sit with them,
Right.
and we're here to encourage them.
I love that. Okay. So tell me a little, do you have like any kind of like social media community that anybody can be a part of, or what's the best way to access the book?
So with Legacy Love Letters, it's available on Amazon
Awesome.
and Barnes and Noble and even Target and Walmart.com.
Awesome.
But here locally, we have copies in the office. I have a lot of clients that they just want to walk in and pick up a copy. So Candy, you're holding the hardback, and I've
Yes.
got the paperback. So I've got both available.
Okay.
I will record the audiobook at some point.
Okay.
I have to have 1,000 books sold before they'll record the audiobook.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
know there's been
How
a
close
request
are
for
you?
that. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
It's interesting with book sales because it's delayed by
Okay.
90 days.
Oh,
And so I
oh.
did get my first royalty check last month.
Nice.
My
That's
family
so
is really proud of
fun.
me.
Yeah.
That is
But
awesome.
it's part of just getting that message out.
Yes.
And it's helped me even with my social media. I have Facebook and
Okay.
I have Instagram,
Uh-huh.
but there
Okay.
is a website. And it's here on the back.
Okay.
It just says legacyloveletters.com. But we also have estateplanninglawcenter.com.
Okay.
And so they're integrated right now. I try to have a lot of crossovers, but
Right.
part of it is just getting the word out,
Yeah.
and then making sure people know that that they can write these letters. And these
Right.
letters have been around every time I have a client. Even yesterday, I had a woman who had a beautiful letter from her grandmother, but then it was destroyed in a fire. But she could still tell me exactly what was in
Oh,
it.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that is
Yes.
awesome.
And so I am now still capturing those stories,
Yeah.
and sharing those.
Well, it's so great because Mother's Day just happened, of course, right?
Mhm.
And so what I bought my mother is I've been seeing on TikTok and Instagram. I don't know if you've seen them. They're the books of "Hey, Mom, I want to hear your story,"
Yeah.
and it gives a whole bunch of prompts. And it's a book about this size here that gives a whole bunch of prompts and then has their little lines below it. And I told my mom about it. I was like, "Hey, listen, this isn't like a go job, like go do it. It's your leisure. Whenever if you have time,
Yeah,
like I do want you to answer this stuff because
Yes.
years ago my wife found something like this, and it was like every month or every 2 weeks there was going to be an automatic email that goes out to my mom and my grandmother and all my higher grandmothers, parents, siblings, whatever. They go out and then they would answer it back. It would go to all one email. They were gonna make a book after that, but then they
Wow.
made this book. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me get that book then, and
Yeah.
then they'll just do it that way because then like 2 people answered the email,
Yeah.
so it wasn't really working the way we wanted to because we wanted something like this, like leave your story behind or tell us what happened or certain things like this or that. A little different than the love letters, but just telling us like how you were raised and what you do during this time and what was it that was most memorable to you. Because then my grandfather just passed away a couple months ago, right? We buried him. What was it?
It was like a month.
May, yeah. April, it was right before Easter. And my grandmother, just if I just look at this now to where she would have had something like this, or if something would have been brought up like that, like my grandpa would have done it. But if it would have had something like this,
most,
who
most
knows,
of
right?
the letters
Like,
are written by men.
Are they?
I don't know if he would. I mean, he could have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just seeing her and what she was going through after being together almost 60 plus years, right? It's like what else do you know besides that person, So having something like that, I can see the benefit of it, of course, right?
Right. And I feel like the value also too is in your handwriting. Everything is so electronic now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So electronic now. And I know a lot of people don't like their handwriting, but it's theirs. Like I mean, of course,
I feel like there's emotion.
If you can't read somebody's handwriting, that may not be the best idea. But
someone to transcribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just the handwriting too. I know my mom has very unique handwriting, and I did a similar thing because I feel like, growing up, I'm the baby of 5, right? Like we just do what we do. And
we don't know where our parents came from, what the story was, right? And that's what I want to know.
Yeah. And unless you ask those questions, like they're raising you. They're not telling you all of their stories,
But I think there's a difference too when someone's almost like emailing it or writing it. They have a different way of explaining something than if they're going to sit person to person with you. I feel like when someone's talking, especially nowadays, they're so filtered. Right. So, but if they're writing it, they almost feel unfiltered to where they're able to tell you how it is because you're not going to read it in front of them. Yeah. Right. Because that's like the scariest thing. Hey, read that later. Right.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. And then another thought I have, Gwen, and I don't even know if it's been something that you've thought about, but say we have people out there, we have families in a different state that want to have you kind of come on and do maybe a workshop with the family to kind of guide the whole process with someone. Is that something that you've thought about or that you're open to, maybe an additional service that you're willing to offer, like, workshops with families to start the process? There's always that one that's like, hey, you guys, I think this is a great idea. I had a great idea at Christmas. I found a box. I can't even remember where I found it. I think it was on the TikTok shop probably. And it's like these little cards that you pull. And so they give prompts, all different kinds of prompts. Some are future and some are past. And so we thought this will be a really fun thing around Christmas time, right? While all of us are sitting around and we can answer these prompts. And I'm not certain that they didn't almost cause a family debate. Like, it was like almost a family. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't it was hilarious. And so I thought that's fun. It's fun, but it's like not, fixing my hair. Thank you, Kim. Kim says fix my hair. So it just is funny to think of like that, somebody may have a great idea, but not everybody. It's like you can't be a prophet in your own pastor. And so having someone come alongside them and say, here's how to do it. And here's what we do it. Even if it's like 2 or 3 sessions to where you are actually helping them. Has that ever been something that you thought about or considered?
Definitely considering it. What I've done so far with just promoting the book, I've been presenting my top 10 list, which includes the love letters. The difference is just it's now number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I've been doing that presentation quite a bit. But I also have been speaking to churches because with legacy planning, I had an invitation to go to a church that they wanted me to teach their members about estate planning. Also from a church perspective, that the church could be a beneficiary on a will or trust or on a retirement account. And then I was able to also talk to them about love letters. Yeah. And so that's what's been exciting too, just the opportunity to speak more about legacy. Right. But I am looking at doing an online workshop. Yeah. Right now it's built in. As I wrote the book, what was good about going through that process with having editors, getting a lot of feedback. And so the book is there are some prompts that walk through what I could teach in a retreat or could teach on an online webinar. I have some acrostics in here that just help people remember. Even the 7 ingredients. I have a prompt for just speaking truth and then it just breaks down each ingredient that you
Nice.
can
I
talk
love that.
about. So I definitely see that there might be something more
Right.
that I'll be doing for that.
No, I
Hopefully
think
an
so
online
too.
workshop or a women's
Yes.
retreat,
Yeah.
because it's really helping people. And I saw it when I had to write my own letters. I had to write my letters too as I wrote the book, and really taking that time. And because we are so busy working and studying and doing all the things that we do, what happens with this project, even estate planning, you have to put it on your calendar.
You do.
In my office, we make people come back every 5 years and double check everything. And so it's just, what can I do to help remind people how important this is? And a lot of it is creating that space so that people say, okay, this is really important. I'm going to take a weekend, or I'm going to take a day off and spend that time doing it.
It's so important because we're so busy.
As you're talking about it, right? It's like it's something that's going to help you and your family when that uncertain time comes. Already have everything laid out, and whoever's going through that emotional time, and you have to make those decisions. Then, there's no way. There's no way that you have the time to be able to do that. So this is why it's super important to have this all pre-planned, to be proactive and not reactive to a situation, because then it's going to cost you money, time, and then
it's crazy.
you're going to lose.
Well, and your brain isn't even thinking.
My gosh, yeah.
You're not even thinking properly.
Right.
And so that you're so right. And I feel like, so number one, guys, here's the 2 lessons for today. Number one, get in touch with your estate planner. I mean, when we did it, I know for myself, I mean, I have identical twins, and it's not like we have a lot. It's just that we want to make sure that if something ever did happen to Adam or I, that my girls don't have to make decisions, that it's all kind of already made for them, and they already know what's going on. And so that was important to me, just to make sure that they were set up. So we met with Gwen, and I have to be honest, like, I had no idea what that was going to look like. And it was the easiest process. I mean, she walks you through the whole thing. It's so quick. You go one time and she does everything for you. And even since then, I know I've contacted you like, hey, can you tell me on this situation with my will? You're like, nope, it's already set up. Or, I know with insurance, with the fire in the Palisades, that was a big thing, that like, if my insurance, my homeowner's insurance didn't have my trust named as an additional insured, that there's a possibility that my home would not have been covered. So I reached out to Gwen, and you guys emailed the insurance what it was needed. And so there just is such benefit in that. So definitely, if you're local, contact Gwen. And if you're not local and you even have questions, I'm sure they can reach out to you, but find an estate planner close to you to make sure that you've got that set. It is a peace of mind, I have to be honest. And then number 2 is Legacy Love Letters. Guys, order the book. This is a really great gift. This is something that you can get for everyone in your family. Read it yourselves, and then also reach out to Gwen to see how she can help you maybe present it to your family. Do you have any parting words? He snaps when he thinks we're closing. He does this, and I'm like, no, we're not there yet. We're not there just yet. Any closing words, Gwen, for anybody out there that's watching?
I'm just excited to have this opportunity to talk about the book.
Well, it's super awesome having you.
And I appreciate the invite. It's just getting the word out. I've done that my whole estate planning career, just telling people to put everything in writing, and then just double check it later. We just have to approach it as of today.
Right.
And so that's another quote I like from the book. People ask, well, what if I die today? And I just felt that God really asked, like, what if you really lived? And so that's where, when you're intentional with each day, that's where you'll have that urgency of, well, if I die today, are my affairs in order? Do I have these love letters written? And so whatever I can do to get that word out there and to remind people.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Guys, we'll have Gwen back when she's got volume 2.
Right.
and just to keep you updated. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Real talk, no filter, no front. Candy and Garrett, yeah, we say what you want. Real life, real stories, yeah, we keep it real. If you're looking for the truth, this is how it feel. Conversations that matter, yeah, we bringing it out. From the highs to the lows, yeah, we talking it out. No fluff, no cap, yeah, we keeping it straight. If it's real, then it's worth every second you gave. A network, now you know what it is. Once a week, real talk, building cover like this. Real talk, real voice, yeah, we bringing the heat.